Welcome back to RealVacantLand.com. So I've been doing some more research on these Arizona properties, Southern Navajo, talking to a couple more county people, bouncing around, and they got regulations on composting toilets. I mean, usually I would think they just say, no, get out of here, go away, no composting toilet. But so let's dive into it. This property looks to me like you can do a composting toilet. I mean, talk to the county, do your own due diligence and everything. But it's a little over 3 acres, 3 acres, 3.15 acres. There's a wash in the back. There's a road in the front. It's on El Capitan Drive, El Capitan Road, something like that. It's county road. Scrubby little road, but it's county road. And you could drive out to this property. There's Taylor's just around the corner, right over here. Where there's grocery stores, gas stations, fast food, and Walmart. There's Walmart just up the street. Walmart went in, so a bunch of stuff like that. So you can go get your fruits and veggies, and bring them back to better. Yeah, you should grow your own, but you know when the season's not working for whatever you're growing, go buy the extras over there. Bring them back to your property. So it sounds like you can put a mobile home on this property. You can live in an RV while you build a home. You can build your own home. You don't have to have contractors. I mean, there's some basic inspections, really basic inspections. They don't charge much. Mobile homes like $125, something like that, to get the permit, and they come out and they look and make sure you're doing the right thing, give you the thumbs up, put your mobile home, you're good to go. If one of the main hurdles of setting a mobile home is the septic, you got to put your septic system in. But reading about that, asking questions, it sounds like some people are doing it without the septic. And what they're doing is, so here's El Capitan Road. This is a map. I was going to talk about that. This is a neighborhood map. I was going to talk about that, but I want to talk about the zoning. It's frequently asked questions. People talking about composting toilets because they just keep asking, like, do I really have to build this stupid, expensive septic system that I'm never going to see? I mean, yeah, I'm going to use it, but I'm used to just flushing the toilet and watching stuff go. I don't want to think about where it's going and maintaining it and paying for it. You got to pay those guys up front. They don't take like payments and stuff. Like they really want their money. Maybe you can put them on a credit card, but they really want cash, you know. So people want to do composting toilet. All these homesteading channels on YouTube talking about composting toilets. I got this really boring piece of paper pull up on the screen. Maybe I can make it bigger. Not that makes it more fun, but maybe you can see it if I make it big enough. Maybe that's too big. Water quality division, blah blah blah. So they're basically talking about gray water. And I was talking about this in an earlier video, and I was reading about this, studying it, and they're saying, you know, the stuff from the toilet that can go in a composting toilet. Okay, the stuff from the sink, that's not gray water. Like it's got grease, it's got chunks of food in it, it's got weird stuff in it. We don't want that going to gray water. We want you to take the chunks out of there before you send it out, and you know, dump it into your trees or something. And think about it. If you got little bits and pieces of food coming out the pipe and it's going into the pot where your plants are growing, it attracts rats. You don't want that. It attracts flies. You don't want that. You know, water is one thing, but chunky water is something else. So they're trying to keep that from being a sanitary mess. They're saying collect the chunks before it goes out. And if you have a something to siphon the chunks off before it flows out, then you're good to go. And you got to have a way to make it happen. So they're talking about that. What's the way to make it happen? I got this lady, her name's Sandy Phillips, and I talked to her colleague. She wasn't actually available on the phone when I called. I put her phone number in a previous video, but I'll tell you right now. Sandy Phillips, Navajo County, 928-524-4233. That's her direct line. She's the one that's I'll tell you all about composting toilets. And so this regulation says number of bedrooms, flow, like figure out what size you have to make the thing that takes the chunks out of the water. And then once it comes out, where does it go? Does it go into a trench or bed? What's going to disperse the water into the subsurface? So you've got to have that in the plan. The sizing of the trench or bed is based on design flow of wastewater as determined in subsection blah blah blah, whatever the rule's called. The minimum vertical separation from the bottom of the trench or bed to a limiting surface condition is at least 5 feet. So you got to get it 5 foot underground is basically what they're saying. They want to make it so the mosquitoes don't grow and flies don't grow and make a mess. Um, they want you to protect the area of the trench or bed from soil compactation or other activity that will impair dispersal performance. So don't drive on it. Don't put it under your driveway. And reading these rules, I pulled up one of the rules. So this rule, this is really small. There's no way you're going to be able to read this. But maybe you can tell what the name of the rule is there on the screen. Rule 18-9-E303, number 403, general permit. This is about composting toilets in Arizona, less than 3,000 gallons per day design flow. And so if you want to do one of these composting toilets that's less than 3,000 gallons per day design flow, how much is a toilet flush? Like 2.5 gallons or something? So what is that? 3,000 divided by 2.5. I think it's 2.5 gallons. 1,200 flushes a day. I mean, come on. They give you all kinds of room. You're not going to flush the toilet that many times. So this is like commercial. They don't want you to do it for commercial. They should use. You can do composting toilet system if wastewater system or gray water system is used to accommodate wastewater that does not originate from toilets. So the water that doesn't go down the toilet, you got to have a plan to get rid of it, like feeding it to your plants. And you have to. Composting chamber temperature cannot be maintained. Not install a composting toilet if the composting chamber temperature cannot be maintained between 60 and 70 for any 7-day average. Temperature of the chamber is less than 55 degrees or greater than 80. So it's got to be temperature controlled. Like you can't put the composting toilet in an outhouse and let it freeze in the winter and let it bake in the sun. And it's only supposed to be good for human excrement. I don't know what else you'd throw in there. I guess you shouldn't throw tampons in there. Composting toilet, got to make sure, it's got the basics. Like you can use a bucket with a lid and go for it, and then you can throw the stuff outside, make a composting pile. But you got to have the composting tank that you dump it in. It's got to be double walled for leak protection. It's got to have airtight seals to prevent odor or toxic gas from escaping into the building. The system may be vented to the outside, which sounds like a good idea. You don't want the stink inside. Use a temperature control device or ensure that the capacity of the composting facility provides adequate storage for all waste produced during the months when the average temperature is below 55 degrees. And then they have a process to dispose of it at the end of composting. There's some other rule about that. It's got to be adequate mixing, ventilation, temperature control, moisture, and normal size to reduce fire hazard and prevent anaerobic conditions. So they've got some conditions on how you can do it, and you just got to meet those basic conditions. Find other people that have done it and see what they're doing, copy their system. But they've got the rules laid out there for a composting toilet. So it's not like it's a no, it's just you got to follow their rules. And I think that's pretty cool. So I wanted to point that out. I'll put some links down below to these pieces of paper that I'm pointing at in reference to this property, but all kinds of properties in Navajo County, Arizona. And that regulation goes for the whole state of Arizona too. You got to check and see that there's no regulations, local regulations, city regulations, county regulations, or neighborhood regulations that supersede or go on top of that state regulations. And to my knowledge, there aren't on this particular property. So you can have a composting toilet here. You could set up a mobile home here. You could live in an RV while you set it up, or you could live in an RV while you build your own custom home. And that makes for a lot of freedom in a piece of land like this. It's close to town, close to schools, close to supplies, and yet doesn't really have anybody around. And it's got a road that you can drive up to it. So it's got a lot going for it. There's a little pond down here. Another little pond over here. And so the other thing that's going for this property is it's at the bottom of the mountains. Not the bottom, but it's at the bottom of the foothills. And so the water goes north in this area. And so underground, it's not going to be so much on top of the ground, but underground, it's flowing this direction. So you go drill a well in this area, and I think you get some shallower water tables. Some of the people I've talked to say it's 75 foot, 100 foot, 150 foot. But with this pond over here that's behind my head, yeah, there's a pond down here, and then there's one over here. I mean, in the satellite picture, there's just sitting water in these ponds. Here's a homestead here that somebody set up. Let's take a look at their operation. Looks like they built a house with gable windows out the roof, and they got a grass yard, and they got solar systems set up, and some gardening, some barn animal corrals, animal husbandry going on over here, and some junk and some tires. But there's one. This looks like they got a good driveway coming out to their place, and then it looks like if you kept going past their place down the little road here, I don't know how drivable it is or isn't. Kind of looks like it disappears. They've got a fence. Maybe that's not a good route in and out of there. But this road connects, goes around, shoots over. There's a lot of roads. You're going to find your own route in and out of here. There's your route over here. Maybe not right next to their house. You don't want to drive right next to their house anyway. Hopefully other people will do the same courtesy to you. So there's a property. How much was I asking for this? Let me pull up. I think it's $100 a month. I should have started out with that. $100 a month for 42 months. A little over 3 acres. Some bush on the one side where you can drive up, go build, make it happen, and a wash in the back where you might be able to get some water for your garden and growing stuff when it rains. There you go. There's your property. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. It's Luke Smith, ruralvacantland.com. I'm going to keep researching rules and regulations on these different properties and telling you about what you can and can't do. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not an attorney. I'm not a specialist in zoning or anything. This is just Luke Smith point of view, opinion information. Please go do your own research and make informed decisions. Don't just take my word for it. Go read the rules. I'm not the one who writes them or enforces them or anything. I'm just a layman and reading them and telling you my interpretation of them. But you should read them for yourself and figure it out on your own too, because no one's going to care more than you. That's just the way it is. So thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. It's Luke Smith, ruralvacantland.com. Talk to you in the next one.